Welcome again to Critique Sports Central. You're here with me, Gene the Booth Daddy, and on this segment, labeled Calcio Unwrapped. Here we talk about the transfers, the latest transfers, and the news across Euro's top 5 leagues and whatever that's happening in between. So we're going to delve right into it. To begin with, we're starting with Florian Wirtz to Liverpool. Now, this has been a very controversial one. Right, we're still waiting for the here we go. It's been reported that Liverpool, Wirtz is interested in joining Liverpool. But I just want to give you a quick backstory on this issue, on this topic. So Hans Wirtz, being Florian Wirtz's father, was in contact with Uli Hoeneß, who is the active board member of Bayern Munich and the former president of Bayern Munich. They had an agreement, and then in that agreement was that Florian Wirtz would have the opportunity to have other meetings with other clubs so that he will be able to choose which club suits him best. But then Bayern had to run a PR, of course, with their media team to put out their misinformation that Florian Wirtz has already chosen Liverpool, chosen Bayern Munich, and that broke the trust of the Wirtz family. That opened the way for Liverpool and then Manchester City to get involved. Manchester City couldn't tie him down because Wirtz wasn't convinced that Pep Guardiola would still be the manager after 2027. So Liverpool poached and Liverpool were able to get him. He was impressed by Arne Slot's tactical preview, how he was going to use him in the team and Liverpool's training facility as compared to Bayern's. Real Madrid were interested, but then it's not been anything concrete as of now. And so the news being put out there is that they're just waiting to finalize the deal. The total package is going to be around 150 million euros, 100 million euros upfront. The other 50 million is going to be on bonuses and how they're going to structure the installments. Bayern, again, still in the news. They've been interested in Mitoma and Cody Gakpo. This was reported by Florian Plettenberg on the 28th of May, where he broke the news out that there've been interest because Bayern Munich have a problem on the left side of their attack. They don't deem Kingsley Coman suitable enough to continue, and as well as trying to find the future and someone to replace Leroy Sané for the long term. So Max Ebel, he's been in communication with Cody Gakpo's entourage and Liverpool in general, but it doesn't look as though Liverpool are willing to let Gakpo go as of now. Mitoma is also there, and Brighton would only accept a fee for about £50 million. That was what was reported by Sports Bio journalist Christian Falk. So it's something that we should look forward to. I think Mitoma would do quite well in Bayern Munich. Although he's 28 years old, the Bayern Ultras don't fancy a deal like that. They're against the club's management. Manchester City, another interesting one. We don't know where they are going from here. We don't know how the financial fair play rules are going to affect them in the transfer window. They couldn't tie down Florian Wirtz, and now they've switched attention to Ryan Cherki. It was reported earlier, but then Tottenham Hotspur are also interested in the deal. The deal could be somewhere within the range of 20 million to 25 million euros. It's reported to be a release clause. So it's something that we should, keep our eyes on. Still on Manchester City, talking about their legend, Kevin De Bruyne. A few days ago, it was reported, on the 26th of May, it was reported by Nicolo Shira. He reported that Aurelio De Laurentiis, that is the club president of Napoli, had an interview with Calcio Marchera Sports newspaper in Italy, where he said, and I quote, Kevin De Bruyne, I think he has already bought a house in Napoli. I had a call with him and his wonderful family. Can we already give news of his arrival? We are serious and we are waiting for the black and white. So it looks as though they're just waiting to finalize some few things, but the proposed deal for Kevin De Bruyne will be 25 million euros per annum. I think it's a good deal for Kevin De Bruyne. He's just going to see out his years in Italy. Juventus, the Bianconeri, have also registered their interest in Rasmus. Rasmus. They want to tie him down. Manchester United are willing to let some players go. They feel like it's time for a rebuild, another rebuild, and reshuffle the entire team. Rasmus has not been able to find his feet at Manchester United, and as such, United would be willing to let him go. Manchester United's report is that they're trying to get the region of 60 to 70 million pounds for him. Whether Juventus will be able to match that offer, only time will tell. Johnny Cardoso to Spurs. That's quite an interesting one. Now, this one, if you quite remember, Giovanni Lo Celso was at Spurs last season, and then he had to go to Real Betis. And in that deal, there was a clause signed that Spurs would be able to acquire Johnny Cardoso. That was the agreement. At the release clause was 25 million euros. So as of now, Spurs have shown their interest for the young midfielder who's quite talented, but it hasn't been reported whether they've taken the next step to trigger the release clause. It's estimated to be around 20 to 25 million euros. I don't think it's so much for them, but they can see that of if they really see the player fit to represent the Spurs. Barcelona, the Blaugrana. Yes, of course, the Giants of Europe. They're in the news again, and this time around for two players. For Marcus Rashford and for Luis Diaz. Now, there's a gray area here. Luis Diaz is 28. Liverpool want to let him go. Luis Diaz, over the past 2 years, has expressed his desire to represent Barcelona. But then the Barcelona faithfuls don't feel like it's a good deal, and they are putting pressure on Deku's neck. They are calling for Deku to not sanction that deal, that purchase. And so they turn their attention to Marcus Rashford briefly. But ideally, their first choice is Luis Diaz. And Marcus Rashford, as reported by Tony Juan Martí, who is a journalist at Dario Sports in Spain, he's quite credible. He's published in the news that Barcelona's interest in Marcus Rashford is very solid. Marcus Rashford, for the meantime, will return back to his parent club from Aston Villa, where he was loaned out in the second half of the season. And Manchester United would not take anything less than 40 million pounds. That is what it stands right now. And they have had him on the shortlist since February 2025. That's absolutely crazy. We hope to see how things turn out on that side. There's been other news across Europe that is quite interesting. We're going to get into it a bit. It just came in that Liam Delap might be heading to Chelsea for 25 million pounds. 30 million pounds to be exact. 30 million pounds release clause. And Newcastle, Everton, Nottingham Forest, and Manchester United were all interested, but it looks as though Chelsea have a more solid case and interest in Liam Delap. And so that is what is going to happen. We are looking forward to seeing that happen very soon. Monaco, for some reason, believe that Ansu Fati can be the guy to change fortunes for them heading into next season. So they have contacted Barcelona for his services. They want him on a loan with an option to buy. It's not been finalized, but talks are still ongoing and it is concrete. So we'll see how things turn out to be. Napoli have shown interest in renewing Antonio Conte's deal. You know, Antonio Conte has a weird character. He only wins when he has a problem with the board. And that's what has transpired this season. And he had wanted to leave But then Napoli are trying to find a way. The president, De Laurentiis, is trying his best to try to speak with him for them to come to an agreement so that he can remain the head coach of Napoli. And the idea is that they pair him and then Kevin De Bruyne, and then they hope to see whether they can retain their Scudetto. So that is it for now. But we're going to give you updates and more stories that will be very enticing to you. So just stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let's discuss. Tell us what you think about the latest transfer news and rumors. We're going to catch you up some other time soon. Stay tuned.